Okay, moving on to question 4. Hopefully you know that A is an LED, okay, and that C is a motor, and that D is an LDR, light dependent resistor, so that just leaves B. That's the correct answer for a filament lamp. So visible light can transfer energy, okay, and it has a longer wavelength than X-rays. Visible light does not transfer matter. It's not a longitudinal wave, it's a transverse wave, and it doesn't travel faster in water than in air. In water, water's got a refractive index of about 1.33, air's got a refractive index of 1, okay, so that means it travels about 30% slower in water than when compared to air. Alright, we need to put the normal line where the ray is incident on the mirror, okay? We need to look up the definition of what normal means. Okay, normal means at 90 degrees to, right? So you go to the point where the ray is touching the mirror, okay, and then you've got to draw your normal line perpendicular. So you can see on this side, got 90 degrees, on that side as well, that should be 90 degrees, okay? And it's probably not a good idea to label it up as your normal, alright? It's traditional to draw a normal as a dotted line, okay, but don't panic if you didn't do that. Okay, that's just one to remember for next time. So then the reflected ray of light, well, the angle between the incident ray and the normal is the angle of incidence, and we'll know that the law of reflection means that the angle of incidence is equal to the angle of reflection, right? So that angle there and that angle there, those two angles, they've got to be the same as each other. And then to demonstrate that it's the reflected ray of light, okay, you must put an arrow on it, okay, going away from the mirror. And it's probably not a bad idea just to label it up as well. Okay, just to make 100% sure that the examiner knows what you're talking about. Okay, now we've got to draw a circuit diagram. Okay, they've kind of given you a photo there. You've got a battery of 3 cells. Okay, so that's the first little challenge. If you've got 3 cells, you can either draw 1 cell, 2 cells, 3 cells, like that. Okay, and your filament lamp and your light switch. Okay, and then the other thing that it's asked you to do is add an ammeter, and the ammeter is going to go in series with the other components. Just going back to this battery of 3 cells, if you wanted to draw a battery, then what you do is you draw the first cell and you draw the last cell, and then, you know, maybe you got a battery of 100 cells. Well, I'm too lazy to draw the other 98 cells, so what you do is a dotted line in the middle like that. So you've got 2 options there. You could either draw a battery, okay, and this is obviously the plus side of the battery, and this is the minus side of the battery, okay, or you could draw the 3 cells, okay, as individual cells. So either option's okay there, but it's got to be one or the other. Alright, I'm not sure how to answer this question, so what I'm going to do, because it's a calculation question, I'm just going to write down the information that the question tells me, right? So I know that I've transferred 120 joules of energy, so E equals 120. Time, that's lowercase t, and that's 3 minutes. Oh, I've spotted a trick there. Okay, if it's 3 minutes, then I need to convert that into seconds to be able to use that in a formula, don't I? And then there's another sneaky bit here, that each cell has got a voltage of 1.5 volts. So to work out the total voltage from these 3 cells, all right, I'm going to have to multiply by 3. So my battery of cells has got a voltage of 4.5 volts. And then the thing that I don't know in the question, the thing that the question is asking me is the current. So in my formula, I'm going to put I equals question mark. I'm going to go to my data booklet, and I know that it's somewhere in topic 2. Can you spot the formula I need? Yep, there it is. It's EVIT. Okay, so I write the formula in. E equals V. Whoops. Oh dear. E equals V times by I times by T. Okay, and then again you can use the formula triangle for this if you want to help rearrange. Okay, E on the top, V, I, T, cover up the T, and I'm going to get, sorry, cover up the I, and I'm going to get E over V times T. And it's important that those get multiplied together first. So I'm just going to put that in brackets just as a little reminder to myself, right? So now I've got 120 on the top. I've got 4.5 times by 180 on the bottom. Okay, and that gets me an answer of 0.14814814, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so how many significant figures do you think I need to give my answer to? Well, I've got to look back at the question. That's 2 significant figures, that's 2 significant figures, that's 3 significant figures. All right, so I'm going to give my answer to the lowest number of significant figures of the input data, which is 2. Okay, so my correct answer is 0.15 amps. Job done.